Crouch. Bind. Set.
Joe presents the House of Rugby, together with Guinness.
Hello everybody, welcome to the latest edition of House of Rugby, brought to you by Joe, together with our very good friends at Guinness. Christmas is in the air, and we have two very special Santa's Little Helpers for the show this week. The Sevens guru, the legend that is Mr. Ben Ryan, looking extremely well. How are you?
Feeling good, excited, got my jumper on.
Yes.
You look a bit like sort of a, almost like a seal on the front of a German U-boat, like, you know, with your turtleneck.
What would I be doing?
Well, just ordering people around.
Quite naval.
Yeah, very naval. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
But I already told you that gingers don't have a sense of direction, so I wouldn't be able to do that, would I?
This is very true.
Go around in circles in the channel.
And you could only come out at night because you'd burst into flames on the front of a sub out in the day, in the sun.
But the sea, if it's cold and doesn't reflect... Yeah, I don't know, maybe that would work.
Might be right. I do like it. I do like it. Heavy wool knit. I feel like I should have had a turtleneck. Would I like a good turtleneck?
It's a roll neck, is it? Or is it turtleneck?
Oh, don't get pedantic about it. Like, it's something.
We begin this week's show with fashion couture
Yes.
of the high seas. Welcome back, Mr. James Haskell. You've fallen into a mower this week. I've never seen your hair looking quite as tight as it. You look
Yeah.
about 15 and a half.
Yeah, my mum always says that when it comes around to like selection time and like contract time, that if I just took the beard off and hair, I look very old according to her.
Yes.
So as I'm getting married very shortly, I decided to tighten everything
Is
up.
this a pre-wedding trim? So you
Yes,
look good
this
in the... Have you sold the photos to a magazine?
I have, yes.
To which one?
Hello magazine.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Don't worry about that.
Do you get a lot of cash for that?
It's still okay.
Good, perfect.
You know, things just keep these ticking over.
Good.
You know, it keeps the wall from the door.
Have you had to invite lots of celebrity guests to make you look a little bit more...
No,
high profile?
No, when they saw my name, they were like, "Oh, sweet. That's if anything,
Perfect.
you know, you're doing us a favour."
Just a double-page spread of you.
Yeah,
Can we get a mention, or is it just you?
Not if we can help it. Right. She'll be like every time she'll try to speak, I'll put my head in the way.
Good.
Oh, but it's good to be back. There's a couple of things I wanted to just cover off myself this week.
Yeah.
Because I know you always start with the agenda. When I listen to this podcast back, on the odd occasion I do, and I don't think we're going to be interesting as a test because it's normally tins. One of us is a massive day snorer. So on the audio, when you listen to it back, someone is a serious heavy breather. Now, I think it's Tins.
Right.
Because I think he's got a nose like a whistle. He sounds a bit like a kettle.
Yes.
Or it's me because I'm real heavy breathing. And I've had a few comments from people.
Panting.
No, just like, like heavy breathing in between talking. And so when, say, you're doing a little piece, you can hear it. And then with Tins, you can hear it's like...
Yeah.
little whistle. I don't know why his nose has been fixed, but
so
not
that
completely
kid in
fixed.
Chitty Chitty Bang, the Toot Sweets in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Exactly.
I've just got my producer in my ear who's saying that the one week we haven't had it was the week that we had Andrew Trimble as guest. On the
Right,
show.
fine. But the thing with that is
certainly not Ben because he's only been on the show for 2 minutes.
Anyway, I
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Here.
You're like the the test subject where we bring in
Litmus
someone
test.
that but no, you know, you have the control in a scientific experiment. You have the control. He's the controller. He's not gonna. He could be way worse, but or he could be better.
So far, I'm being told, Ben, you've been exceptional in audio, so keep it up as you're going.
The one other thing I wanted to ask about was well, two things actually. Is you said that on the Irish version of the show that apparently some people watch or listen to. I don't know. They went on like a big time TV program to promote themselves, and you thought Andrew Trimble's chat was...
No, that's what I'm being told. I didn't see the show.
Right.
It's Irish, but apparently he's gone rocketing up the list of top rugby chatters.
That can't be possible. You've seen him in action. We've had him on this show.
I think you underestimate him at your peril.
Really?
I'm looking forward to bringing the two of you together because it's sort of... Sorry, Ben. There's a lot of bickering that goes on between James and Andrew. Actually, Andrew doesn't really bicker, but James gets riled by it. But I think it's a sort of jealousy.
Same way we're coming for Peter Crouch.
I listened to him Peter, I'm going tomorrow.
Yeah, I know. I can't believe that. I can't believe
they are the #1 podcast in the UK. Aren't they?
I'm excited. I mean, I've got to say. I mean, I was excited coming here. It's nice coming.
Well, I feel like you're just putting you're paying lip service now.
But it's different. I mean, Peter Crouch, isn't it? It's at the Samrat. You get family naans there. I was expecting a Guinness.
Well, we're going to have live shows. We're going to do
it's
that.
Like a really special new Guinness.
I've said every week, where's the Guinness? And I said, do you know what? We get a high-profile guest, gold medal winner, owns half of Fiji now, and we don't have Guinness. What I don't understand.
It's unacceptable.
It is unacceptable. And the third thing I want to talk about is I've got a really nice message from somebody who said that they absolutely love the show and that their boyfriend's father, a guy called John, and the guy's Mark, John's unfortunately not very well, and they listen to the show the whole time, and it keeps them really, really happy, really cheered up. And I thought that was really special, so I give them a shout out.
Good.
Because normally I just get abuse, so it was very nice to get actually a quite sincere message. So I think we're making a difference to people, hopefully.
And it's John who's not very well.
John's not very well, and
Get
Mark,
well, John. from all of us. And well done, you're putting smiles on faces. As you
I try to.
Yeah, well done you. Right, we tend to have a rugby podcast that doesn't cover a lot of rugby, which is sort of the way that Hask likes to do things.
Yeah.
Would you like to talk rugby? What's keeping you busy at the moment? How would you divide your life pie chart right now? Would you cut it up?
Way more at home. I spent so long overseas the last couple of years as well.
Did
216 days overseas, which is good for tax implications.
And air miles.
Yeah, and air miles, although they're never joined up, are they? So Qantas at the moment is leading the way.
Right. What's keeping you busy
I work
now?
for the French Federation, so spend time with them. I work for UK Sport, Nike, do some R&D with those guys. A lot of speaking. Books just finished. That's been doing pretty well, and we just signed a film deal for that. So that should be good.
That's going to be incredible. Have you cast your leading role yet?
No. I just signed.
Have you got a couple of ideas?
No, I think it's. I mean,
How about the guy from Harry Potter?
I'm thinking Damien Lewis would be quite a good.
No, I thought Ron Weasley.
people can dye their hair. You don't have to just.
No, really? Well, you don't.
Although it does give an opportunity for minorities.
That's what I was thinking. What's his name?
Yeah.
The bloke, Rupert Grint. No, is that right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, he'd be good.
Yeah, he does. I do press ups every morning. Do you think he does them as well?
You've got similar sort of rigs, I would have thought.
Yeah, probably similar. He's probably strong with his wand.
Yeah, I mean,
good
are you
with
strong
we
with your
did
one
this
hand?
last week.
Yeah, amazing.
We're going back down that alley again. Just in terms of your portfolio of work, what are you enjoying the most? And what are you doing for the French?
Consulting, so a lot of they would say planification. So a lot of strategy, really.
Yeah.
Longer term, because they've got the Paris Olympics in 24, World Cup 23, really good youth coming through that won Junior World Cup, won Youth Olympics, men and women. So as my French is getting better and I'm understanding everything a little bit more, it's quite enjoyable actually. Rugby players are rugby players ultimately all around the world. So yeah, I like that. That's the only kind of bit of rugby stuff I'm doing at the moment.
Oh, yeah. And you haven't got the itch to get the whistle and the tracksuit and the clipboard out?
No, not really. Not really.
That's too good without it.
No, yeah, I wouldn't want to get into the Monday to... I just wouldn't want to do it. I've seen people...
Yeah.
I'd like to do a little bit more coaching. Yeah, definitely. But maybe not for another year.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
You have had a couple of offers in rugby, haven't you? Can you share with us what they are? Is that classified and confidential and locked
No, not
away?
really. I mean,
Did you go for the Quinn's job?
The Quinn's I was down to the last two. And I went for director of rugby, and then the job changed a little bit because they split the roles kind of on and off field.
Yeah.
But Guzzy's, a top man, and I hadn't been coaching 15s for quite a long time, really. Although you kind of popped back and forth a little bit with the Fijian boys with John.
Yeah.
And when I was with England, you're helping out all the age groups. It wasn't really until my Newbury days that I had. But yeah, I mean, 15s was my background. That's where I started.
Was there something with the WRU as well, or was that?
Yeah, that was a deal that I did with them on a bit of a handshake, and really it didn't substantiate really the role.
really?
So that kind of, we just said thanks but no thanks.
Thanks.
Yeah, and then I moved across to the French. So yeah, no, it's all right.
Trivial.
Do little bits and bobs. I was kind of going to do a bit more for World Rugby, but I'm becoming a little bit more militant these days, and I say things that perhaps isn't in line with policy, which I don't care about these days.
It's a good way to be.
It's good for
I think
us.
so.
And we're going to explore some of the things you have been saying.
It means that you occasionally just don't get jobs that perhaps you'd quite like.
I think the world's now divided into two things of where you either try to toe the party line entirely, and those people are going to swiftly realise that people get offended by everything, or you stick to your principles and you say it, and then everyone's just going to go the U-turn. Because eventually this madness, I've seen all the stuff with the Christmas songs. Everyone's now apologising for what they sung in like 1970s and 1980s and all this kind of stuff because it's inappropriate. It's like, I'd never apologise for that. Like, there's some things in the past you should...
Which ones? Which songs?
Tale of New York.
Yes, Tale of New York.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
right.
So, Nigel Owens tweeted about it, actually, what a load of nonsense it was. I just think things like that is just madness. So I think it's interesting. I'd much rather go through life saying what I actually felt as opposed to pretending. I mean, it's the same thing with Brexit we were talking about off air. If only everyone confessed that nobody
Hask
wanted it.
for Prime Minister off the back of your tirade.
Yeah, but it's true. If Theresa May just came out and said, actually, listen, I don't want to do it, I don't believe in it, you were forcing me to do it, and this is why it's a balls up, and everyone else stopped lying, it'd be a lot simpler, but we're not going to do that. We're all just going to play the charade.
I went to school with a girl called Theresa Green.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Does she dance as woodenly as Theresa May does?
I don't know, I never got to see a dance.
Theresa May should stop pretending she likes Brexit. Did you not? That's
wasn't that type of school.
Curse the ginger, isn't it? Though? That's the thing.
You know, go to Fame or something.
What did you think of the yeah, but you go to school disco, maybe. I don't expect it to be in a leotard like flash dance. You must have done a little bit of something.
School disco, yeah,
Footloose.
maybe. I would have done Electric Boogaloo back then. I mean, that was
Electric what?
Boogaloo, yeah.
Right.
Brave Dance 2.
Did how did you find it? I know you've got loads of questions, but I want to ask.
No,
questions.
do.
How did you find the
Not bad if you
book writing? Do you enjoy it or not?
So it's ghostwritten by Tom Fordyce, who's part of this other podcast with Peter Crouch.
You stop mentioning Peter Crouch. Fuck, it's bullshit. We're coming for you, Crouch.
Well, it's only because we're closing him down. I think
Yeah, fine.
we're focusing on the target.
What's your football schools like?
Terrible, absolutely terrible. Like I'm sponsored by Under Armour, and they once saw me kick a football, and the share price went down. They almost confiscated the boots. So I am not allowed anywhere near that. I've got the worst. I'm the only person I know never had trials. That never never made it as a footballer.
That's like most Welsh people have played for Welsh schoolboys under 16s.
Yeah,
nearly everyone.
Yeah,
everyone. Nearly every Welsh person I know.
Yeah, I couldn't make it, but I had an injury.
Played Welsh under 16s.
Do you remember the first time you met Hask?
Yeah, I mean, it was schoolboy stuff. So I was teaching a school in Oxford, and I don't know if I ever coached you at age group. You ever get any sort of?
I did. You
Southwest
did.
schools,
No, you
maybe,
did. You did.
and
Because
then
that
a
was the
little bit
funny.
of
That was the funny thing is that you did is because after the school match, which no doubt you'll talk about, I then turned up to something and you were coaching.
Okay.
And I was like, Dad, you know that school I got red carded to, and that nice teacher that we met, he's actually coaching me. Thank God I wasn't rude, because that would have come back and haunted me. And then you did.
And the B side of the story is, do you remember the incident? Because
Vaguely.
I do. I remember it.
Quite a lot of water under the bridge since then.
I remember at Roslyn Park Sevens, we had got through to finals day, and I think there'd been some piece in the paper that said something like St Edward's were favourites to win it, and you had cut it out and put it on your windscreen of your minibus. Either you or Dom Shabu.
That wasn't me. I was,
Or
they
Tom Evans was
they
maybe as well.
They wouldn't let me have scissors. I was only allowed loads of plastic ones.
It wasn't like very well cut.
Oh, so it was like badly cut out.
Badly cut,
I think that would have been one of the other lads, because
Max was there. Max Evans.
Yeah.
It was a good side.
We had a great side, actually. It was always like, people would go, what was it like at school? But I was a sick team. There was me, Tom Evans. Everyone always starts for themselves.
Still glorifying the school days.
I know. Get over it. Also, so we use that as motivation.
You use that as an external motivation and beat us, I think.
Did you win Roslyn?
But I think that was when England schools were clashing as well, so we couldn't have Johnny Goodridge playing, who I think James Forrester played maybe that day.
Yeah.
But
no, I think one of the boys would have done that. One of the absolute keynotes. I'm not sure Tommy ever reads the paper. So I think it was probably our coach. It was Ken.
Oh yeah,
Mad Ken Hopkins would have done it.
Yeah.
Who's a legend of a man, but he was completely mad. He had Ken Hopkins, our school teacher, had a piece of paper with meticulous notes written on it, and he would write them out in pen, and then he would highlight over them. And it would he'd always pack the minibus with his piece of paper, do everything with his piece of paper. And if you took the piece of paper away from him, literally everything just went boom, imploded.
The day unfolded.
Yeah, but it was amazing. So I think some of the lads wound him up. But I love Ken. He's great. He's actually one of the only coaches I still kind of speak to from my school days. He calls me up every now and then.
Tells me. Is he retired?
Yeah, he's retired. He's retired now. He calls me up and it says, sort your discipline out and things like that. I'm like, Ken, come on, mate. I haven't spoken to you.
Well, back then it
Very
was
good point.
obvious as well.
Obvious. Sort it out. I'm the most carded England player of all time.
Are you really?
Yeah, I know. What a horrific stat. It's something like...
How many have you got?
No, it's like yellow cards. It's just...
What does that say about you?
Yellow's in modern era as well, so... So a Dooley, for example, would have picked up a lot of yellows.
Mate, yeah,
well, actually, he might have just picked up post-match bans because he was quite dark arts and surreptitious about it, wasn't he?
Yeah, but all those people now say, the dark arts. It's like dark arts because they had one camera. There was one bloke with a magic lantern filming it from the halfway line. We've got 17 camera views and some absolute
26
in
to
a
30
box.
on a big game.
Yeah, 26 to 30. Some bloke in a box watching, ready to do you in the eye, and then you've got the floor manager of the stadium replaying it 1,000 times. So there's no chance of you doing any dark arts. I mean, you'd have to be like the Predator in one of them suits and go in to get away with anything. So no one ever does it now. And also, everyone has a fight now, but everyone just pushes. No one ever does anything anymore. So it's like, they're having a bit of a scrap. Yeah. It's like they're not. They're just really pushing each other and swearing loudly. Then everyone has to apologise for everyone swearing. It's like it'd be a lot better if everyone just filled each other in. It'd be a lot more interesting.
Producer Size clicking away furiously backstage. 6 yellow cards in 77 tests you've had. The third most in international rugby union.
Yeah.
In history. Well, it's only been in.
Yeah, there's been a couple of I bet it's still unfair.
What does that say about you as a player?
that I'm probably a bit mal-coordinated. I think... I don't know. Do you know what they were? The thing is, they're all quite for different bits and pieces. Yeah, they're all for different pieces. Like, a tripped up French guy. The ball came off the back of a line out, bounced. I went that way, and he stepped. I literally just put my leg out.
Are you going to go through each card now?
No.
That'd make a heck of a show.
I feel this is therapeutic. Like, I feel I'm sharing with you.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
No, I think there have been a few bits and pieces like that, but actually, latterly, I've been pretty good. But we actually, should we tell the story about why, like how we know, like how I got no, or do you not care? Because there's a bit of a story as to why.
Please do.
Well, fine. I'm just saying that we were playing St Edwards.
Yes.
We're not supposed to say what you're for, coach. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
In case what you say later on in the show, they might want to disassociate themselves. Depends.
Yeah, it doesn't
Fine,
matter.
all right, we can edit that out. St Edwards versus Wellington, first team field. They went to set up a maul. I went through the front of the line. I hit the prop to clear him out. I went down the floor. He got up and kneed me in the face. And normally at schoolboy rugby,
George Rippon, that was.
Was it?
Yeah, he ran a BMW garage in London. Yeah.
Was he?
Yeah, did. Now he's in Singapore, I think.
Living the dream.
Yeah.
And he. That's how nice of you. You stayed in touch with them. I don't know if my teachers wonder where I am.
Yeah, we had
Probably
a
not.
reunion actually recently. Yeah.
They all have reunions, but they don't invite me, or tell me the wrong school.
Secret ones.
So he kneed me in the head. So most school boys get up and don't do anything, but I just got up and punched him in the face. And then we had a scrap, went down, and then I tried to boot him in the face, which is probably a little bit
That's beyond, isn't it?
beyond the
Yes,
Call of
that's
Duty, really.
overstepping
Yeah. Not even a Call of Duty. That's not a Call of Duty.
No, it's not. That's like that's low. Especially public school, they would say that because Queensbury's all right, but if you try to fill him in on the floor, that's kind of almost.
I mean, yeah.
And so anyway, we had a thing. I got red carded. He got red carded.
Yeah.
Went off. Everyone was like aghast. Like you can imagine the parents like, "Oh my goodness gracious! Cover your eyes, Tommy." As like, so obviously I was, going mad. And then did I write to you? Did I write a letter, apology letter to you? Didn't I speak
Yeah,
to you?
she did write a letter.
Yeah, I wrote
Yeah.
a apology letter.
you get someone to do
Coming
it
back
for you?
now, yeah.
No, I
It was
wrote
in a
it
black
myself.
pen. I remember that.
Yeah. Is that wrong? A black pen, which is the one where you're not supposed to
Blue
write.
would have been softer. Yeah.
Red is aggressive.
Yeah, red. Yeah.
I am sorry.
Yeah,
Love
yeah.
James.
Yeah, it was a stamp. Ooh. And so anyway, I apologised. And then thought nothing more of it. I think people wanted to try to get hold of the video, but I think the school just were like, "Oh, oops," recorded over it. So that didn't happen. And then I bumped into Ben later on. And then you coached me a bit. Was it Southwest?
Maybe Southwest Schools.
Is it under 18s? Did we do
18s?
Yeah, 18s. Yeah, Southwest Schools under 18s. I actually
Yeah.
made the team that year, but the January
Yeah,
side.
because we had the January and the September.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and that was
the
it.
better
And then
ones were in the
we've been best of friends
September.
ever since. I tried to get in the England Sevens, but he was like, "No." We used to play
No, you
sevens back in the day.
played.
I did,
Obviously,
yeah,
you
I
played,
did.
And then you spent time in 15s. And
Yeah.
then kind of that was your.
And then he got too big
That's
and
your
old
gig.
to run around.
Another
And
one.
also used to make them do that fitness test twice,
Yeah.
and that was
What was the fitness
oh
test?
my god.
Yeah, it's the RFU backs test or whatever. So it's like a yo-yo bleep test, but it involves also a couple of press ups and up and downs and stuff like that.
It's aerobic,
But
isn't it?
it's too complicated. So I prefer the yo-yo that we did with Fiji, which is the old school yo-yos. We did that once, so it's like doing the bleep test. We did it once, I think, something like 11 times at
Wow.
Fiji, just because we just needed to just get them fitter and just instill a bit of discipline.
11 times.
Yeah.
Good luck with that. Can we get into? I mean, there's so much to talk to you about. You have lived 100 rugby lives, but I'd love to ask you a lot about your time with England, but also about Fiji. Where would you like to start? Should we go chronologically, or do you want to?
Yeah,
do
can
Fiji?
do. I mean, like England was great. Like initially,
Did you enjoy your time as England Sevens head
started
coach?
to? At the start, I loved it. At the
Yeah.
end, I hated it.
Really?
So it was.
And what changed?
Yeah. I changed a bit because of the system. So I came from from school teaching, and I worked all my way up. I'd played professional. I know I don't look like it, and some people actually don't ever feel that I even played.
The game has changed. Hask sitting alongside.
Yeah,
the man
plus
Plus,
that
good
you are.
nines don't make tackles anyway. They can point,
No.
and make noise.
This is very true. I think that's the
man.
one position in the game that can still avoid making a tackle.
Yeah.
The only problem is, though, where it goes horribly wrong is if someone breaks the line of defence and they're standing behind a ruck and someone's bought a horrific dummy and like a winger that's the size of a forward now comes steaming through and they've got to do a chop tackle.
Yeah.
My favourite was one of my ex-teammates got our big winger, T, ran through and handed him off so hard he went back in time. He actually, by the time he'd come out of the tumble, he looked younger.
Yeah.
He got, you'll find it on the internet. It was unbelievable. And I'm thinking, he saw him coming and went like this, ha, 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 and got honestly folded, disappeared like dust. There was like, Back to the Future with the tyre marks. That was like him footprints,
With the
flames.
flames, yeah.
He went back in time. It was that bad.
You're talking about Tangeli Nairavoro?
Yes.
Yeah. How do you say it?
Big T.
Big T.
Yeah. It's difficult. It's quite a long name to pronounce every time you want to say it. It's just go.
I'm inside you. I'm inside
so
you.
it's fair to call him by his real name.
Yeah.
What was it that changed though?
You can't say, your name's too long, so I'm not going to...
No, okay. Again, I think one thing on that note. This is like borderline racist. It's not. I won't go there. Don't panic. Don't panic. Don't panic.
Like that.
No. I'm just making sure because we don't offend anyone. Was that I was at our post-match dinner against Samoa, right? And the president introduced the president from Samoa, and he went, "I can't pronounce your name, so I'm just going to call you Steve." Would Steve come up? And I'm thinking, you can't really do that. No, you can't really do that. But with T, it's
that's what he's known.
Yeah, that's what he's known. That's his nickname. Well, it's not that much from mine.
Back to the perils of being England Sevens coach.
Yeah, so I kind of joined, and actually the conversation at the very start was there were two jobs. There was England under 20s and sevens, and me and Mark Mapletop were going for the jobs, and they sort of said like, let's give it a year and see if we fancy swapping afterwards. But we both were enjoying what was happening, and I was kind of. I inherited I was at a bad time with the RFU where they're just doing the first EPS agreement. So beforehand, we could get people like James and various others from the best young players around the country. EPS killed all of that. And actually, then we got to a bit of a low point in one tournament where we'd lost all our games. And I came back and I wanted to say, this is not working. We can't get the players. Don't get any time with them. And at the time, I think Rob Andrew was going to then take us off the World Series, take England off the World. But because World Rugby had said, you've got to keep England in the World Series because we're just trying to get Rugby Sevens in the Olympics, it gave me a bit more budget to try to work things out. And then we based our team on the championship players. Yeah. Like Exeter at the time had a load of players that were playing, and Cornish Pirates. And then Reg 9 went, so we then couldn't get anyone from championship. That's when then we went full time. Then we got pros in. Professional sevens players in, and then and kind of during all that time, I felt like a little bicycle really as a coach. You're quite mobile. You don't go too fast, but you can do what you want under your own steam. You can avoid things, and then as I got into this bigger juggernaut of the RFU, you kind of at the back of this big truck that goes really fast in one direction, isn't very adaptable. Yeah. And you don't really feel any belief or purpose or autonomy or that psychological safety just completely disappeared. I fell out with my bosses pretty reasonably spectacularly, and then kind of like after World Cup. I signed non-disclosures about a couple of these things.
We don't want to get in trouble.
But I mean, what I can say is I came into training after, so we had just finished the World Cup. First time the team had got to the World Cup final in 20 years. Won the semi-final, just felt absolutely no love at all. Didn't feel any emotion, no glee that we'd just got into the final. And I thought, well, this is not what I should be doing. I don't want to do this. Yeah. And then came back home, and then we were starting pre-season, and Rob Andrew was waiting for me in the office at Lensbury, and him and Joe Lydon pretty much gave me the ultimatum. Well, either say you're stepping down, or we'll reapply. You're gonna have to reapply for your job. So. At that point, I was like, well, I'm not staying. Wow. So you get a little bit of a payoff, and off you go. And then UK Sport offered me a role, and then a mate said to me on Twitter, "Do you fancy Fiji jobs available?"
It came through Twitter?
Yeah, it came through Twitter originally, yeah. Social media, it has its benefits.
So I met my missus.
Is it really?
Yeah. Has its benefits.
Who approached who?
Well, she offered the Fiji job to you.
Yeah, she did. It's weird. I went for it as well, but they picked some other bloke with me. Great in the turtleneck.
Who approached who?
So Chloe did some weight training. A friend of mine tweeted us both in saying, "Oh, you should have a chat about some training stuff." I had a supplement range at the time. Was looking for a female ambassador. Looked at her profile. Didn't really pay attention. Yeah, I did. Yeah, had a good old perv. Sent her a message. So she followed me because the thing. I then messaged her straight away. And obviously she saw me coming a mile off and then just wasn't interested. And it took me, I had to wear her down and convince. And it took me weeks to get her to meet for a date. And then we met on a date, and just the overall charm. And
you're getting married this weekend?
Yeah.
What a genuinely modern love story that is.
I know. She's probably thinking, "Oh, I wish I'd never replied."
Yeah, exactly.
But we got there in the end.
Yeah, that's nice.
So you got the Fiji job through Twitter. How did you end up going out?
I had the interview on. I put my CV in, and I'd actually played against Fiji. I'd coached against Fiji, and had a couple of Fijian boys that had played from the British Army for England. I saw Damu, a really good player.
Yeah.
And they said, let's have a Skype interview at 2 in the afternoon in Suva, 2 in the morning in Teddington, where I was living. And had the laptop ready. I took the turtleneck off. I was wearing a tie, actually. At 2 in the morning, a couple of double espressos, and then 2:33, 3:30, and no one had called. And, if you've been to Fiji, I know you haven't been, but it's Fiji time, right? No hurry, no worry, And so eventually 4 o'clock, it fires up, and they just project my face onto 35 Gordon Street at the CEO's back wall. Everyone's kind of peering in, asking if I knew Johnny Wilkinson, if I'd met the Queen. Kind of serious questions, really. And
what did you answer?
Have not met the Queen, and I'd done one session with Johnny Wilkes, so I shook his hand. I think that was about
sort of similar.
That's what Queen's job.
Yeah, but no, not met the Queen. And I stayed awake, which I thought was a success. And then in the morning, I thought I'd better find out a bit more about Fiji because I'd never been. And I got on the Fiji.
Did they give you the job then and there? Or did they say
no, so I got on the Fiji Times website to have a look and see a bit more about Fiji. And the first bit was the CEO that just interviewed me had been sacked immediately after my interview. Right. So that was that. And then 2 weeks later, I'm in Jamie Oliver's in Richmond, and we're out having dinner.
Not in his house.
Not in
I was about to say, you are so big time.
Yeah,
if you are, yeah. So you're in Jamie Oliver's restaurant, yeah.
Jamie Oliver's Italian restaurant, yeah.
Right, fine. I was in Gordon Ramsay's
we need
restaurant.
To be specific.
Right, fine, yeah. Because people might think,
but, Yeah. And I wasn't alluding to that. Cause,
I think you were a little bit. You were like,
do you reckon?
Yeah, you were. I was Jamie
good
Oliver's.
In the book.
Yeah. It's needless to say, I actually met Jamie Oliver in his official restaurant. Oh, really? Right, okay.
Has he got a fish restaurant? Is that what you said?
No, official.
That's Rick Stein.
Oh, right. Rick Stein's. I know Rick Stein.
Do you?
Restaurant. Yeah, that's what we're doing. That's what we're saying. Okay,
yes, I'm with you.
Sorry.
The open goal.
So I see it's +679, which is Fiji. I pick it up and say hi, and said, hi, this is Berlin Kafoa. I'm the acting chief executive of the Fiji Rugby Union. We've got a press conference in 20 minutes. So I said, okay, that's great. What's it about? I said, to appoint you as a new sevens coach. So I said, okay, do I get a say in this? He said, yeah, 20 minutes, call me back. So we kind of went through the logistics of it all. Moving house, going to all that sort of stuff.
In 20 minutes?
Well, it didn't take that long. As soon as I put the phone down, I was kind of like those decisions that you have to make sometimes in life that, my heart was soaring thinking this is going to be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But your stomach is doing somersaults.
Yeah.
And I just put a phone. I didn't know how long my contract was for, how much I was going to get paid, what it'd be like to live in Fiji, where the team were, who my bosses were. I just said, yeah, okay. And they said, great, if you can get there in about 4 days, if you can buy your ticket, I should have realised, the plane ticket, if you can buy your tickets, we'll reimburse you when you get them. That never happened.
That old chestnut.
Yeah, and so then I went over, and then first 48 hours, it was like, okay, my boss is the military dictator of the country, Frank Bainimarama, who had his coup. His first coup, actually, was rugby related. So he delayed it a day because there was a big rugby match he wanted to watch.
Right.
So delayed that, then got his AK-47, off he went. And he was boss. So if you're prime minister of the country in Fiji, you're head of the Fiji Rugby Union. He eventually put his brother-in-law in charge of me as well, who had gone to prison for manslaughter, kicked and punched someone to death at a wedding. He's still head of the chairman of the Fiji Rugby Union, and head of the prison service in Fiji as well. And then
handy.
Yeah, then they said, we've got no money, gone bankrupt, no sponsors, no one contracted. The boys had been just sitting around waiting to find out who the new coach was, because if it's a local coach, they might not have been picked because there were a lot of regional bias around things. So we did a fitness test the first day, and I won the fitness test. And so there's that wasn't a good start. One of our boys had got his legs cursed, so he's lying on the floor in the village for 2 days. He was our kicker, so that is difficult to really put him in the team if you couldn't stand
I think
up.
of one or two other players who've been cursed, actually, in there. You've had a couple of those, haven't you? Your hands have been cursed the entire career.
Very amusing. People are cursing me now with well, actually, I don't play anymore, so it doesn't matter. With the voodoo dolls and stuff like that. Yeah. When you say he was legs were cursed,
yeah, so someone to put a curse on him and so
anything to get out of a fitness test. I'm going to try that. I wonder if Chris Boyd will buy that one when I've got to do a fitness. Sorry, boss, my legs were cursed.
I mean, it worked for me. I bought it.
Yeah, you must have. Yeah, but I suppose you don't want to rock the boat early doors.
No, exactly. I just listened to everything. I didn't say, come on, let's get on with it, because there's a real belief around white and black magic in Fiji, as well as heavy Christianity.
Yeah.
So I was getting all of this.
It must be something how good like I absolutely love like Fijian players. I love all and I just think it must have been unbelievable to see how like.
That ultimately was the reason that I stayed, because they told me then after the first tournament, not going to pay you for 6 months. And I didn't, I went unpaid, and that never got paid for that. And so all that stuff's going on, and it literally everything. But then when you're coaching with the boys, their enthusiasm, their love of the game, genuinely happy that you're there and grateful, working hard, and you're seeing these guys just need a little bit of prodding and pushing in the right direction. You need to just be honest with them and give them a bit of love, really, and consistency. They're going to flourish. A bit like coconut trees in Fiji, you need sunshine, water, and sustenance. They just need the basics. They weren't getting that. They weren't getting any feedback. You were find out if you were being dropped in the newspaper. They won one tournament. They won the Gold Coast tournament. The following week, they dropped 11 of the 12 players. It's just bizarre, some of the stuff that was happening. They were almost... I always say about Fiji, like, if Usain Bolt, 100-metre final, they're at the start line, Usain Bolt's going to win that race. But then as the gun goes, someone's chucked a big rock in the way and he's got to slow down, avoid it, gets tripped up, falls over, and then everyone else catches up. Given a bit of clear water, Fijian Pacific Island players are just unbelievable. Yeah. And so I had these amazing players, and then we went on this roller coaster of a 3-year journey, really, that culminated in Rio. And it wasn't without its bad stuff that happened, but yeah.
I want to come back to obviously to the high. Tell us about the pan au chocolat story as well.
That was Moses Mawalu that I picked in the first tournament. And we were in Dubai, and I just come down to breakfast in Dubai at the hotel. He had 10 pan au chocolats and then 10 fried eggs on top of that. And I was like, Moses, what are you doing? He says, what's not to like? Bread good, eggs good. It's all good, isn't it? And I was like, okay, all right. And then after that moment, it's like, right, Moses, just want to see a colourful plate every time. So he would show me his plate of colour for lunch. So you got your greens and all that sort of stuff. And then you take a little bit off, put a bit on. And they would do that all the time. So from the outside, it might look like there's this white guy trying to tell them what to do. But they just wanted, you don't know what you don't know. They had no nutritional understanding. And it's a third world country, so you eat what you can when you can, often, and heavily sugared and carbohydrated. So when there's all these stereotypes like, oh yeah, Fijian boys, they switch off at this time in the afternoon, or it's because they've had these massive sugar highs and crashes, that there's ridiculous highest levels of diabetes in the world per capita in Fiji. Yeah. Obesity's through the roof, Samoan Airways, I think they're the first airline to actually weigh you. You pay more for how much you weigh.
Is that right?
Yeah. So you're learning all this stuff all the time. And yeah, that was one of the many stuff around nutrition.
It must be exciting in terms of like the individual skill, because I watch highlights of players, and you see Pacific Islanders play, and I think, okay, look, I've had a good career doing what I do, but I'm part of a team sport. I'm not an individual sportsman. Yeah. But then you take some of these Fijian guys or Pacific Islanders and look at them as individual, like athletes and skill, and like it's scary. It was like if I was a head-to-head as an individual athlete against these guys, wouldn't stand a chance. And that's what I always find amazing. You look at your likes of, in different sports, Roger Federer and these boys, you think how good they are. When you actually watch some of these players, and I watch this highlight, I think, oh my God, they are so good. It must have been, because I always thought that having played around the world and seen different people, I always thought that if you could bring almost a bit of Anglo-Saxon discipline and a few of those bits to that raw talent, and you were kind of the experiment that proved the point, because so many times it's happened, but no one's ever seen it through to the end, and for you it culminated in a gold medal. I think it's amazing, because it just shows, isn't it, with, like you said, the basics, and actually. It must be a difficult path to tread as well. I can only imagine, because you don't want to go too hard too early, because you see it in France all the time that they get foreign coaches in, right? And foreign coaches come in from Australia, from New Zealand, they change everything. Then halfway through the season, they don't win. And then the French take over and they all become like, all the players suddenly become like politicians and diplomats. Everybody gets sacked. Then they go to 3 years of French only. Then that doesn't go well. Then they relent and go back the other way, and it just happens all the time. And I'm
vicious circle, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm kind of interested by the way that you did that.
I was a good fit, I think, for them, because I'm not a typical rugby coach. I'm a bit more laid back about things as well. I didn't hang out with expats. I was with locals. All my staff up until the last year were all Fijian. Didn't bring anyone overseas. And it leaked from the press about me not getting paid, so they realised I was there for other reasons. And then we had that big Dubai win in my first tournament, properly in charge, where we beat New Zealand by 44 points to 0. And it's still their heaviest international defeat for New Zealand at any level, international level. And so after that tournament, everyone was like, "Oh, Ben Ryan's like this amazing coach." That was the first time I'd given a Fijian boy a can of Red Bull before a game. And
Really?
they were flying around in that semi-final.
I bet. I mean, that is rocket charging some pretty dangerous weapons.
Was the skill set just incredible? Because I mean, I'm always frightened that when I play seven or I see just physically how big they are. You don't realise it. How hard they are to tackle, but then also the fact that they carry the ball in one hand and will literally fight like hell and just offload at all costs.
Yeah, they're based on background. I mean, a lot of them have man strength. So a lot of the boys grew up in cutting sugarcane at sort of 5 a.m. till 10 a.m, sleep in the field, then load it on the trucks when they came in the evening. So they had that kind of farmer strength.
Yeah.
But then you're playing this one-touch rugby in the villages, so it's uneven surfaces with probably not a very good ball, or a t-shirt scrumped up, or plastic bottle filled with sand. So all this stuff's great. All the small stuff, long passing wasn't so good because you didn't get to practice it. And it's lots of people playing in this really chaotic game, so you really got to be aware of all of that. And it's only one touch, so they're naturally getting better all of that. But then again, the negative is a couple of things. I mean, you're not on the beach practicing your clear outs, and you're not, that's nothing I ever saw. And all the tackles are up here because that's where the ball is. That's where they're offloading. So they're playing against that all the time. So it's a natural. It's not like an ill-disciplined thing so much. There's technical imbalances on bad technique on some of the stuff that they wouldn't have got taught. So all that stuff. So you don't want someone to come in and go, like, we're going to give Fiji 4G fields and all these brand new balls, because then you'd lose that what they've grown up doing. You just want to kind of sharpen the blade. But they're so resilient, so robust. One of the surgeons in one of the French clubs was telling me one of the boys did his ACL, and he broke his scalpel twice repairing his ACL because it's so thick, the ligaments. Genetically very gifted, so talented. Get fit fast, they get fat fast. So you had to manage diets, and I took them off sugars for about 3 months before the Olympics, which was like getting them off crack. It was just
really. How did you do it? I mean, how do you
cold
stop?
turkey, stopped at source. Anything I could shut them down. I mean, they were bribing people in the hotel for sugar. Closest place you get any chocolate was the petrol station, so I had them all on bonuses.
Really?
If you get anyone gets near, just I'll bring a spare shirt or a rugby ball, and yeah, they were. But then they saw the benefits. They felt so much more energy. It looked great.
Yeah.
So when we got to Olympics and we were like, right, we're tapering, we're having some carbo loading, they came and saw me in the village and they're like, no, we want to stay as we are. Might have a bit more, might have a bit of bread or a bit of carbs, but actually feel good. And that goes against a lot of science. You don't. And so we had to kind of force them to have some stuff at the tournaments, just to get
energy and recovery and all that stuff.
Yeah. But as a group, they were amazing when eventually they were given this diet that really worked for them, and it was just another addition to the.
Tell us about Rio and the experience. I was going to very quickly say I've done 15 years of broadcasting, and my favourite interviewee of all that time is Nicky Little, who I interviewed after they beat Wales in the 2000s.
Last week at the varsity match. He was at the varsity match. His school teacher brought a load of boys down.
And I've interviewed him the week that Fiji beat Wales in the Rugby World Cup, and we never started the interview. We were eating steak in France, and he just spoke in the most amazing tones about how the Fijians had come to France. They were frightened of their security, and there were guys just going up and down in the lift all day, and they'd never left the island before. And it was just a different world. And I'd love to know, therefore, what it was like for you to take your squad to Rio.
Like, we had all of that, Alex, like in the lifts. I mean, I saw it, Fijians going up and down lifts, and never been on a lift before.
Yeah. I
can name, there's 8 escalators in Fiji. I know where they all are, And like Masavesi Dakawanga is in that photo behind us.
Yeah.
He was in the Strip in Vegas, going to the cheap sports corner superstores to get, all the stuff out there. And he was loading his trolley and had no money. And the boys were there laughing, and we were like, what's his plan? And he went to the till, with all this, hundreds of dollars and he got his Fijian dollars out. And he's paying them, because he just thought, well, why can't I pay in Fijian dollars? It's dollar, isn't it? And Fijian dollar, American dollar, it's the same. So we have all of that stuff, first time in a plane, Massey in his first tournament, he's blind in one eye. And he was playing, he was airport security.
Wow.
And then, he was our 13th man Olympics and then played in the semis and the final.
Yeah.
And then got a contract overseas. And he went into the NRL. And Gerard Hayne helped him out with that. And so we had all of that. And then we went to Olympics and we kind of tapered towards that. We were the last team to get into the village. When they have a lockdown in the village before the opening ceremony, we cut off any outside communications, no phones, no laptops, because I can control that, right? We were the only team in the Olympics that didn't have any phones or anything.
And why was that? Why was that required?
Why have anything externally that can potentially get in the way of what we were trying to do? I've seen teams self-combust. And after we won our semi-final, and the boys, we didn't have an analyst because I wanted to encourage them to show them how bright they are as rugby players. So I'd say a couple of things about the opposition, give them the game, and they'd feed back some really genuinely insightful stuff all the time.
Yeah.
So we were here. GB had just beaten South Africa and they were getting their food. Every single one of them had their phone and they were all going through their social media.
Yeah.
And I looked at them and thought, well, they look like they've won a silver, not lost a gold, and they were distracted. And people can say things and it can put you off. So why bother having it?
Yeah.
The GB women's hockey team, they did the same, and there were very few, because people think the Olympics and the village stuff is like all the best athletes in the world, and it is. But half of them are Olympic tourists. Half of them, get knocked out first round, and then the village has a lot of distractions.
Let's say,
and even like
more condoms than any other place on the planet.
165,000 condoms.
Is that right?
Yeah, something like that.
But then also like they did have a little sign on it saying Rio 20, so there's a bit of a souvenir aspect to that. But like first week in the 24-hour McDonald's, sign on the front of the thing saying we are reducing the amount of items you can take per person to 20. And like that is week one of the Olympics. Like so you have to manage all of that. It's not all Usain Bolts and American basketball dream teams. It's a whole plethora of different people. So then we just controlled that, and then my goal as a coach is to make myself redundant. And if that's the case, then you have to have your processes so you give players, that empower them. And so you could go to a final, sit and stand and have a beer knowing that they don't need you. That's where we were for that team. They led themselves by the end. And
is that I mean, what was I remember writing a tweet after you'd won, which just said, I think that's the definition of peaking at the right time. I mean, it was that for you almost the most satisfying thing, is that extraordinary journey from pitching up with no idea what you're doing to winning gold. It was almost your best at exactly the right moment.
Everything was right. I mean, you get this in team sports where you're trying to hit that zone of optimal function, and then if you're not overconfident, if you're overcompetent, which that team was, and then you've created an environment where they don't get overconfident, you keep those two things, then you really do soar, and that team just got everything right. And at no point was I worried going into Olympic Games that we weren't going to win anything other than a gold medal. I'd be like, we'd be in tournaments sometimes where, I'd be this ginger coach on the sideline panicking that the clock's gone to full time and we're 6 points down, and the boys just be chilled and go, it's okay, it's all right. And then we go length of field, outside offload, single fend, whatever, bang, score. And then they're like, don't need to relax a bit. It's only a quarter final. Just great, That's how they were all the time, and so when you're really well prepared and you're overcompetent, and when there's massive pressure coming from the nation that are just demanding that you win this, then if you're not got your things right, that pressure can really push down on you. But if it's all in line, then it lifts you up, and that's where they were. They just, I had this massive speech ready before the final. I've seen Any Given Sunday, and that was my moment. And I got into the changing rooms, and it's like, I say anything, it's only going to make it worse. So just like I said, have fun. And off I went. And then we went to the tunnel, and the GB boys were on one side, and they were stiff, and they looked, as you would do, going to an Olympic final, nervous and everything else. Our boys were skipping through. Osea had his hand here, and it was going towards Rasta's arse as the referee, which wouldn't have been a great start. And then he just lifted it up, put it on his shoulder and said, hey, have a great game. And that was that. And I walked around the back. I never say good luck to my opposite man before a game because I don't mean it. So why say it? So I went around the back, and then that was that really. And 29-0 at half time. So then you can really enjoy and start to remind yourself of that journey, the cyclone that we'd gone through that was just horrendous. some of the boys. One of the boys lost his wife. Had all sorts of stuff that had happened, and so it just to culminate like that was perfect. Yeah, and then come home to Fiji, which was just crazy town.
So you got
Crazy town.
when did you last go to your waterfall?
I went back when they
Just explain the context.
I said to you before the show, every time I see him over in the UK, I don't understand why he's here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, why are you here? Surely, like, you own half of Fiji now.
Yeah.
I said to him, you would be on a sort of a veranda with a decent sunshade, because I don't want him to burn, with someone fanning him with, like, palm leaves and popping kind of grapes into his mouth. And he was like, no. I was like, mate, honestly, you don't know how good you could have had it.
Yeah, well, maybe I should. Yeah. I mean, I spent a fortune on sunblock.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, it was that. I was like the Firth of Forth Bridge. As soon as you finish, then you start
get back
all
down the
over
other
again.
end,
Yeah,
exactly.
back down there, and they'd just laugh
And
at
also,
me
it's
as they
thick.
took on some coconut oil.
Fact 800's like thick, isn't it, as well?
I thought maybe there's a brand in that, but it's such a niche for
It
ginger
is.
people.
And you're a
I mean,
dying
it wouldn't
race.
just be less than 1%. It's a lie that we're a regressive gene.
Oh, is it?
Oh, it's just
Made up by jealous
Progressive.
non-gingers.
the 99%.
Yeah.
So when we came back, it was
But you were given a waterfall. What title were you given?
land. So I'm the only, as far as I'm aware, I'm the only official non-Fijian chief. So Ratu is chief. Ratu Penny Rayani Latinara is my official name, and that's from the Saruan clan.
Yeah.
Which is a province that I lived in, and then they had taken the Queen's face off the coins and some of the notes, and mine is on 50 cent, but I do look like Napoleon Dynamite on it. I'm not, yeah. And then
Take it. Redraw.
Just take it, mate. Take it.
And then a
like,
$7 note, which is really cool. They just thought, well, why not have a $7 to recognise that? And that's legal tender.
I didn't even know any of this. This is unbelievable. It is unbelievable, isn't it?
Do you ever try and pay in $7 notes anywhere else around the world in sort of Fiji
I bet
style?
you do. Just like that. I don't understand why they won't take it. It's $1. It's $1. It's about,
No, but it's cool. So I flew back for that when we had to do the launch of the note and the coin, which was cool.
Yeah.
And then Osea, when he got married, the captain, I flew back for that, and then we had a look around the land and all that palaver.
And is it just growing bountifully and beautifully, or have you done anything with it?
No,
or?
we're gonna for a few reasons. I think we're hoping to turn it into a school. So that's the plan. And then
That's what I said to him. He's just the perfect
He's
guy.
an amazing
but
guy.
then I thought maybe it's because when I said to him about him sitting on the veranda getting fanned, maybe what's a school to start him early into the process of him feeding him grapes, other bits and pieces. But he assured me it was for actual good benefit reasons.
I managed to persuade you about that, didn't I? And so yeah, no, I want to. Ideal world. You spend 3 months of the year plus back in Fiji. I've got really good friends there. I love the place, and once I think you have a taste of Fijian life, it kind of does infect you. It magnetises you, and I'm so happy. I think with the team playing so well at 15s at the moment. John McKee's again. He could tell you a lot of stories as well, and he's worked so hard to get that group to where they are. Could do with Nicky Little version to play at 10 for the Flying Fijians, because you've just got Ben Volovolo, who's a good player, but probably a 15. Maybe you can. There's a couple of more boys that are injured at the moment, but yeah. So it's always against the odds, though, for the islands. It's never plain sailing.
I just want to pick up on in a moment.
You're watching the House of Rugby on Joe, together with Guinness.
You're down on your words per minute per play this week, aren't you?
I'm really interested.
Yeah, absolutely, and rightly so. Just to pick up on the Flying Fijians and the win against France.
Yeah.
I mean, is that the sign of the potential within Fijian rugby when they get time together?
Exactly.
Or
Yeah.
is that,
it's as simple as that. I mean, when I was across for the World Cup and I was hanging out with the team before the England game, like we knew that was only going to go one way because they'd only had a few days together to prepare. And then because we're literally on that window for World Rugby regulations. So when we played Scotland in November, Sunday the boys would have been playing in France and then arrive Monday night. Can't do much with them Monday, Tuesday or Wednesday. They had 2 days training before they played a Scotland team that were pretty pumped and ready to go in Murrayfield. So hang on for the first half, a couple of yellow cards, and then they ran away with it second half, Scotland. And then each week you just saw the team getting better because they got good coaches, they're good players. But, they're probably the only international team that draw on players from every continent almost. Apart from probably there have been Fijians and Super Rugby and African teams, but, France, England, Ireland, Scotland, New Zealand, Australia, they're all playing all over the world. So to get them together. So, we've got Australia first game in the World Cup, but the last game's Wales. And that is a a real chance, I think, for the Fijians, even with the quality of the Welsh side at the moment.
What is it going to take for Fiji to stun the world again, as they did in 2007? I mean, can you see the seeds and the ingredients there?
Halfbacks.
For John McKee to do something?
Yeah, because like if you look at everything else, like that back division has got players that are world class. That will be left out. You know, your Tuisovas and your Nandalos and your Gonovas and just ridiculous talent.
Yeah.
Back row's quality. Pafeli Yato, I've seen him play. He's just unbelievable.
Unreal.
Yato for Claremont.
You played against him the other day, didn't you?
Right. Okay. Don't get me started. I was playing that game, and one of the flankers went down, and this dude came on the field. That's the only way to describe him. And he was he shopped at a similar store I do for my kit, which is Baby Gap, right? So he had the tightest gears on, was 99.9% muscle. His quads, honestly, we were scrumming but the front row were fanning around on both sides. You know what I mean? And nobody cares about scrum apart from the front row. I'll say it again. So we were having a chat listening, and I honestly looked over and I was like, mate, absolutely no more leg day for you. And he just looked at me and like smiled. And then he scored a try within 2 seconds of coming on. I went off later on in the second half. He then came back on and made a massive break. He was incredible, an absolute unit. But I was talking to, I think, Billy V, saying that maybe the fitness isn't quite there for him. They got
Eddie's conditioning coach from Japan, John Pryor, is now with the Fiji team. So he'll get them fit
right. Well, then we're all in trouble.
Then. Yeah, I mean, and you've got Pafeli and you've got Bill Mata, Viliami Mata. Yeah. That's for Edinburgh. That's one of the informed number 8s in the world at the moment. It's just another amazing talent who played in the Olympic final. So him and Leone Nakarawa played 7 for Fiji, both over 120 kilograms. I mean, ridiculous trying to, that Olympic final in 20 minutes. Great Britain made 2 tackles.
Yeah. Didn't get there.
Of course they wouldn't. If you've got 120 kilogram guys that can shift.
Which was
an outside offload with a single fend and all that sort of stuff.
Was it Tuisova who played
Tuisova, yeah.
in the final?
Yeah, he came off the bench actually.
Oh yeah, I remember because I wasn't. I don't think I was familiar with him at the time, and I was like, "Oh dear, who is this guy that's come on?" And then he ran through everyone, and then I subsequently seen him play for Toulon, and he runs so hard at people that he actually wants to kill the person in front of him. And he's one of the guys that I was listing earlier. When I watched him, what he can do, I was like, I really don't think I should be playing this game anymore when there's like people like that out there.
He's amazing. And so before the Olympics, like the last week before selection, we said, right, we're just going to go head to head here. It's full contact, 17 games. We played 6 games on one day, 6 games the next day, and then final 5 games, all live. Invited the public to come and have a watch. Yeah. And it was Tuisova going head to head with his opposite man. It's Kunatani going against Mata, Leone Nakarawa, and they just went flat out with each other. Yeah. And after those 17 games, they all knew, well, they've had a chance. This is, and then I knew my pecking order from that. And those games were way better than the Olympics. Yeah. I mean, that's just phenomenal. Like, just clattering.
Pay-per-view.
Clattering the shit out of each other. And we never had a fight in training, ever. And we never did touch either. It's full on. It's just, but they're things you
do you think they're more robust? Because I think if you did that over here, I don't know how many players you'd have standing left.
Yeah,
but their robustness at just the fact that they just weather that and they just
used
culturally.
Used to it. But also, you can still. we still did lots of contact. when I was RFU my last year, I was getting told by the medics, you're only allowed to do 15 minutes contact and all that bullshit, and that just drives me mad. And that's kind of infected the game a little bit. We all care about player welfare, 100%. But there's also, you're preparing for a game that is contact. And you get better at it. Then you're going to be better at avoiding that as well and going into the spaces and not the faces.
Nakarawa's incredible, isn't it? The way he
human lamppost, yeah,
unbelievable.
But like you see the stats, you see 5 offloads, 7 offloads, 75 offloads. Yeah. You look at some of the inspiration and look at some of these guys and watch people do player cam, and I don't watch a lot of rugby, but I watch people that I want to learn from or see. Yeah. I watched him and I gave up after that through. I was like, there's no way I'm running into contact with the ball over my head, fending everyone, and just and still managing to get it out all the time and still making yards.
Yeah. It's a skill we practiced. We practiced if you break down the skills of Fiji, the offload, the inside offloads are easy to track and defend because you normally got a defender coming across, but it's the outside offload. Plus, you need your piston here to see you later. So you got your outside arm for the outside offload, one-handed, and then your piston there, And that's what breaks, unlocks defences. So actually, when you see some of the Fijian tries and you'll see it, you'll go, it's the outside offload again. That's that. Because then you've also got Nakara's 6'8" frame blocking the defender after he's played that offload.
There was an outrageous one this weekend in the Cape Town Sevens.
Yeah.
Into contact and then out the back.
Yeah. That was one of the Nasoko, I think might be on his way to England or to one of the pro teams. So,
It's such fun to watch.
But you can almost see it. Like I'm there I was watching it on the sofa with pan au chocolats and coffee and
eggs.
And eggs on top. 10 of them.
and I'm watching it. I'm going, right, Fatimo's about to bang an outside offload here, and you can just see he's doing it. He's lined him up. They call them. I call them the fishermen. They're the ones that are kind of just getting these defenders with their rod. They're bringing them in, and then they just play to the space. And we had a lot of fishermen in the middle of the field.
There is so much more I'd like to... Will you come back and do another one with us? Because I want to talk to you about...
You might get the figures for this and then realise...
Yeah, well, no, I think absolutely...
Look how brown you look on the camera, though, on the screen.
Well. I want to ask you about the breakdown. I want to ask you about skill players and a bit more on your philosophy. But we haven't really got a lot of time. If you're around about, can we come back?
Sure.
Ben, that's absolutely fascinating. And I mean what I said. We would love it if you would come back and pick up on the other bits that we haven't managed to get to. And there's so much still to talk about, but... You're around about when you're not doing it as many days out of the country.
If I'm not here, we've signed the my life rights and the film's gonna be done now, so that's gonna be pretty epic.
When's that out?
But what are you?
Sorry, I'm just not seeing the synergy there.
Well, you don't. The stunt doesn't have to do exactly the same.
My press ups.
That's what I mean. We can both get you on a plan. I've got a new book coming out, so you could.
Okay, yeah.
We could sort you out with that. It's called Cooking for Fitness, if you're asking.
And how would I have to go up a size in turtleneck? Because I have a lot.
Yeah, you
of
will have a big.
That's a big.
Yeah, but the thing is the thing with the neck is that that will expand.
Yeah.
Like it looks like you've got a big neck. Little do they know it's like a toothpick
exactly.
holding up.
They have no
holding
idea.
Up a Maltese.
But when I'm doing my toothbrush in the morning and brush my teeth, I do my squats.
Do you?
Yeah, that's a nice tip.
In the bathroom.
Yeah.
Do you know what they said? Actually,
Hang on.
Bang them out.
Go on.
Well, I was just saying, there's a guy that I follow on. There's a great, you probably listened to an audio book called Seal, with Dave Goggins, the guy, and he does something called in and out. So every time you go in and out of a room, you got to do an exercise. He does 10 press ups. Actually, well, now my foot's better. I'm going to start doing in and outs.
I wake up, I roll onto the floor and do as many press ups as I can.
Right. I'm being told to step in here at this point. It's sort of...
Tell them to go away. It's not their show.
No, now it's time for you to do some work, young Mr. Haskell.
In and out.
So we've remarked your Harry Potter specialist subject last week. I gave you 15 out of 20, but they've done a recount. And I'm being told that you actually genuinely scored 4.5 out of 20.
Right. And we know who marked that up, and it's someone that you'll never see the light of day in front of the camera, and he's never going to see the light of day again. I'm not even going to mention his name to give him the airtime, but he's a vindictive bastard.
And now he's going to mark you down again. This week, Ben, you're very welcome. Do you know anything about Sherlock Holmes?
I know that Baker Street, that's about
Very
it.
good.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll come to that.
Oh, no, I've even forgotten that. I
right.
haven't listened to it.
Concentrate. First answer only. This week, the self-confessed Sherlock Holmes expert has another quiz to try and master.
I didn't say expert. I'm not an expert at any of these things. I'm actually literally not
evidently
expert
clear. If we can try and not lose your cool at the end of this, that would be appreciation. Although I think it does a lot for our viewing figures and downloads. Are you ready? One answer and one answer only. Let's make it quick. Question number one. What was the name of the landlady of 221B Baker Street?
Mrs. Oh, God, I've paused it up already. Hold on. Mrs. Hudson.
Correct. We are up and running. Where did Sherlock Holmes keep his tobacco?
In a slipper.
What was the curious incident? That's correct, by the way. What was the curious incident of the dog in the night?
That's someone else's book, isn't it?
What couldn't the dog do?
Bark.
Correct. 100% so far.
Excellent.
What was Holmes's hobby?
Playing the violin.
And another one?
He did loads of stuff on Ash, didn't he? Like
No, the answer's beekeeping. What is the name of Sherlock's older brother?
Mycroft.
Correct. What word is written at the murder scene in A Study in Scarlet?
Revenge or Raka.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is very good. Has someone given you these already?
No, they bloody haven't. Get on with it.
Trying to make a better show of it. What is the speckled band?
It's a snake.
Mate, this is really quite impressive.
I know.
Mary Morstan,
Yes.
who later marries Dr. Watson, appears first in which book?
I got four. Book 4.
The Sign of the Four.
Oh, the
Correct.
Sign of the Four. I wouldn't know that.
What is Silver Blaze?
A horse. Racehorse.
Correct. What was the name of the magazine where the very first Sherlock Holmes story appeared in 1887?
Pass, I don't know.
Beaton's.
Right, I wouldn't know that.
This is a very good, perfect pull.
Thank you.
What subject did Moriarty teach?
Mathematics.
Correct. What was the name of the blowtorch-toting pygmy in The Sign of Four? Not Fiji, not Samoa.
Tonga.
Correct.
Oh, he was a little guy, yeah, I remember
The
that.
Bruce Partington plans referred to what?
Submarine.
Good. How did Dr. Grimsby Roylott die?
Did he get kicked in the head by a horse?
No, but it was animal related or reptile related.
Oh, did he get bitten by a snake?
He did.
Yeah.
Where did Holmes retire to?
Oh, was it Somerset or something?
Nearly.
I don't know.
Sussex. 12 out of 15 in this week's Guinness
It's actually
Perfect
not too
Pour,
bad.
119.5 seconds
But do you know what
of almost perfection.
Do you know what this is, though? Is that because they normally set stupid ones where
No,
they go
they
mad.
don't. That's not fair.
And also because you've spoken really eloquently, and actually, I've actually for once been interested.
Tins will be delighted by that.
I'm interested is that now the viewing figures aren't great because I didn't lose my shit over this.
But that you nailed that.
Well, I did nail it.
Yeah.
So,
Nailed it.
actually, you know what you're thinking? Clever, yeah? Don't worry about it.
No, that thought hasn't yet crossed
Yeah, it
my
has.
mind. Do you want to pick next week's subject? Diggers?
I tell you what, construction equipment or farm equipment or JCB stuff maybe. I don't know.
Construction equipment.
It's a hard one.
We're running out of
You got
topics.
DJing, you got DJing, you got this, but its problem is it's making it understandable because they're quite extensive subjects.
Yeah. Okay. Farming equipment.
I love how he pretends he doesn't give a shit. Listen, you're on this show. You have to like buy into it.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do. You do.
I know I don't.
No, you do.
No,
You
just-
absolutely do. You don't
just
go up to go, oh, what we're going to do. If we don't do this feature, then no one's going to understand how long it takes to make a perfect pour of Guinness.
What?
How to do a perfect pour of Guinness.
Put your teeth back in and have another
Sorry.
crack.
How long?
How to pour the perfect pint of Guinness.
Yeah.
Yes, okay, we got the end. Ben, you've spoken so eloquently. Thank you very much, Eva. Some really
Pleasure.
interesting insight.
Good fun.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I liked the Guinness. Really.
Yeah, no, we're going to
Don't
get that
start.
sorted.
It's like it's
Don't
almost
start.
7 o'clock.
It's episode 9 and we haven't.
Yeah, we are
seen
going to
it.
change that.
Do you know what? The 1 week apparently they brought it in. It's because the Irish lot were in favouritism.
Yeah. Have a very happy Christmas. Come back and see us in the new year.
Yeah, sounds great.
Well done. Anything exciting? Oh, good luck with the wedding.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a very happy day.
Thank you.
Good
Thank
luck
you.
to you and to Chloe.
Thank you very much.
We'll leave it there. We'll look forward to a debrief next time you're on. That is it for this week. Thank you so much once again for your company and for joining us and for subscribing wherever it is that you do your YouTubing and your podcasting as per normal. Just a reminder, you can download episodes from wherever it is that you get your podcasts. Please leave us a review. It really helps. And you can also download some of Joe's other programming should you wish. Those that you might have missed, notably Unfiltered with James O'Brien and Boys Don't Cry with the wonderful Russell Kane. Thanks to James. Thanks again to Ben. We will be back next week with Mike Tyndall. Have a very good week in the meantime. See you soon.
You've been watching the House of Rugby on Joe, together with Guinness. Drink responsibly. Visit drinkaware.co.uk for the facts.